Howdy. What a week. What a week. What a week. Still got things to paint. So here we are. Oh. That's kind of wobbly still. He's got articulation still going in his legs. I do need to remember. This is a Morkanaut. He still needs a bit of chrome work on him. His pilot needs to be painted. So there's stuff to do. And then I also have 3 Meks, which are going to spend a lot of their time repairing this poor guy. Right in here at a slightly better angle. There we go. That's blinding. Good. So here we are. Hope you had a good week. Actually, put this up so I don't get blinded. And get right down to it. Surprise, gonna be a decent amount of chrome. I might do some skin first. Don't roll over the missing paint pot. There we go. Alright, so what I'm going to use, actually scooch this thing away, the skin on the pilot and 3 Meks. Decent skin shown, a little bit risque. Is going to be gut rip of flesh over gray. Which means I should probably paint the gray on those guys first. Why don't we do that? I think it's a decent order here. What I'm going to use for my gray is Mechanicum standard gray with a little bit of white in it to lighten it up. I'll shake that again. Get to it. Shake this up too. Shake everything. You know what? I have a wet palette. Might as well use it. Got a little more space now that I don't have my massive hood up. Oh yeah, it's old and grimy. Flip that thing around. Add a little bit of H2O to it. Sure, it's H2O first, kids. Get down to business. There we go. Brush is okay. Did a lot of combat duty yesterday. That guy. Quick rinse. Get down to it. So Mechanicum standard gray. Pretty gray. Downright gray. Then I'll add a drop. Some airbrush white. And I will stir it up. We'll go with that. I probably need a little bit more Mechanicum in here. Maybe not. It's coming through. Do I need to mix it completely? Not really. Just to make sure that we get some amount of tone coming through and we're not just going over a heaping amount of black primer. Scooch my mic a little bit. Oop, pop it a little. Get down to it. I do have handles. I should probably use them, I would think. I would have to find them. Have another? The big boy. maybe I am down the handle. In. Now, as far as paint scheme goes, I'm actually going to use a decent amount of this gray that I got going on. Because it ends up being the background for, to a lesser extent, the boots, but also the pants, more heavily the skin. We end up using mostly contrast and washes. That brings that gray back up, or back down really, something different. So I'll hit the skin pretty liberally. Looking around at the musculature on this dude. I think he's got fingerless gloves on. Obviously being careful, but most of the metallics on this are getting chromed up, which is amazingly thick stuff. If I bump in, I'm good. Wouldn't technically qualify as a happy little accident, but it'll be fine. And I don't need complete coverage. In fact, it's probably worse if I do get complete coverage of this gray. I'm not going to quite dry brush it, but I'm just kind of dabbing more than I am heavy painting. A little bit of shadow's not going to hurt. And the gut rip of flesh is like pretty milky. It's a really interesting. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite paints. Dab his teeth a little bit. With the wristband going. Go a little thicker on the spots that are faced up. Want those to be a little bit lighter. If I hit that wristband a little bit, that's fine, because that's going to get some Cygor brown on it. It's going to turn it leathery. Actually a wristband? No, that's two straps. All right. It is actually two straps. I hit his glove a little bit, which is also fine. Excuses, excuses. Our accuracy will have to come into play once we get down to business in the actual color work. Is that actually skin down there, or is he wearing a tank top? I think I'm going to treat it like it's a tank top. Extra dabs over here. A light little sort of stippling. Harness business. And pretty darn light on his pants. I just want some highlights. Same thing with the boots. Right, if those boys stay a little bit dark. Does have all leather here. Highlights on the boots. But so essentially, I'm going to hit these guys with night something or other blue. I forget what any of this stuff is called, but I don't. Morkanaut Nightshade over gray. Kind of get you blue jeans. And maybe for a mech that's not superior, but I've got a whole army that wears blue jeans. We're sticking with it. There. They all have steel toes, chrome toes really, in this army, so no reason to get crazy over there. But a couple spots that I do want to make sure that I hit decently well are like the kneecaps. Any other spots that sort of aim up a little bit. And the keister. Those spots are should be worn through a little bit. I'm trying to do a mediocre job of replicating denim. On the boots, it's a little different story. It's almost as if I'm dry brushing. I'm basically just taking whatever paint is still on the brush and sort of zipping it around but against the stuff that's raised. That's absolutely fine. I should look this guy over. I'm not exceedingly familiar with this model, so like, it being the first one, I'm sure I'm going to find little spots that I forgot. But I got 3 of them to do. So we will learn. I hope. Little spot, chinny chin chin that needs a bit more, and then I bring a good hard look at this. Doesn't look like his eyes are letting out any skin there, so that's good. Other hand, yep, gotta get his fingers. Just behind the gun. Gonna pop out green. Finger and a little bit of his thumb. One had good week out there. Mine was a little wily, but kept my head above water. There. I really just gotta hope this all comes together when I add my contrast paint to it. But it has in the past. I'm not too worried about it. Scheme has worked out at least okay. Alright, well, 2 more. Lots of vehicles in this army, so finally decided it was time to pick up some Meks. Would have been a little bit disgraceful to not have them, considering I got their workshop. Too. There's a little bit of irony in buying a gray model, gluing it all together, priming it, dry brushing on some metal, and then being like, it's the most boring gray, and then put back on this guy the base underneath. It's gut rip of flesh. Not lost on me. Not lost on me at all. It's like going in reverse. But it works. Sticking to it. Just stippling in a little bit to these areas of that apron that are behind all this metallic bits, gubbins, have you. Shirt a little bit. Here a little bit. This is not supposed to be a thick, even coat. Just trying to pull up a little bit of light, a little bit of texture. eventually get more layers onto it. Skin should be a little bit more thorough, but once again, like right where those muscles meet, I'm not that worried. In fact, I'm trying to avoid getting 100% in there. Oh, brush, you are in such bad shape. Beating you so mercilessly. The amount of chrome you've painted, buddy. I do want to hit the fingers decently, because I need them to pop. This thing finally comes together. It's going to be all metallic around them. He's got fingerless gloves on. Just want that little pop of green to show up well. Pretty heavy right here. Top edge of it. That's going to see a lot of light. Same thing with the back of his neck. I'll hit his chin pretty heavy too, so that sort of screams out a little bit. All the leather's getting it too. I'm not doing this just because it's fast, but like, easy scheme to remember. The skin, the leather, and the denim all basically get gray underneath them. And things like leather straps, I'm like fine with being pretty darn haphazard. How much gray they get. It should be reasonably dark, but then it should be lightened up where it's just kind of warm. And I'll probably dry brush back over it with something like nearly bone colored at the end. Chinny chin chin. Chin I want to hit pretty heavily. Is that all? Oh, that's a metal plate down there. Alright. Interesting helmet, friend. Interesting helmet. His eyes are completely covered over. I can get his teeth a little bit. Once again, that'll just be like a pop of green there. Of green. Metallic. No surprise the Meks got a lot of metallic crap on them. For this army of chrome is going to be pretty reasonably good. Little dash more down here. Brighten that up. That up. Strap nice and bright. Bright gray, of course, but bright nonetheless. Now number 3. Just brush up a little bit. Poor guy. Brush has gone through hell to be here. Painted so much chrome. I may relegate him. That might be his retirement run. Oh yeah, he's all jacked up. Alright. Just leave you there for a minute. You guys almost got a tip on him. Last of the trio. Dampened. A little bit heavy on the top side of the arms. And the neck. Shoulders back here. That's right, I posed this guy different. So he's going to be a lot of bright on that bicep that's all twisted back. Fingers definitely. They come out of the fingerless gloves. Actually, gonna make sure I get in the crevices a little bit because this should be kind of bright up here. There we go. Some of the paint is off. Dab around on some of the fabric. Just trying to make it a little bit lighter and then a bit lighter. Go. A lighter amount of paint. Technically speaking, contrast-wise, like darker on the bottom sides. A little more stipply. Get his chinny chin chin. Stiff upper lip. It does feel kind of terrible painting this guy gray. Like, I know it's not going to be the end result. It's a pile of these guys, but the first moments are just like, it's like betrayal. That area is leg. Up. Same on the other one. Keister. All the spots with his denim needs to look a little bit more worn. We're just going to go a little heavier with this gray. Now that a decent amount is off the brush, sort of lightly go and let the recesses keep some of their darkness. Back off there. There we go. That was a little heavy there, but it's okay. You can see I've graded up there, but like not as heavy as I did on the top. Those little bits of musculature are still kind of peeking through. Anything that's fabric, except for the spots that I really want to look like roughed up denim. Not only okay, get a lot of less gray paint on there, it's good. Fabric is not plastic. I'm not really doing a cartoony style. Like if your style really wants a lot of consistent color, then like go for it. But certainly not going to say this is realistic. I want a lot of imperfection there. Again, I got to get his digits going. Got a tip on this brush. Come on, buddy. Hang in there. A little longer. Cheap brushes. Okay. Mediocre. All right. His face looks good. The arms looks good. Shoulders, all that. He's a little up over there. Looks good. I gotta peek inside here a little bit. Just just get between these metallic bits a little bit, not a ton. We've got a small butt. I mean, it's wide. It's nice, isn't it? And welcome, JMB. Especially good, like, if you're going to sit down for, like, I mean, they're good in general, but if you're going to sit down for, like, a long session, and you're like me, and you, like, forget a little spot here, especially if you're sort of batch painting like I'm doing with these 3 Meks. Like, this gray that I laid out here, that'll be fine, you know, an hour from now. I mean, maybe at most I dab a little extra water on the brush. But if I forget a little spot and I gotta go back and hit it again, like with a lot of little details when you're going around, you just need like a little bit of gold paint. Tip, 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 tip. It's awesome. But just in general, just you use less paint. It stays smoother. It is good stuff. So I'm gonna let the gray dry on these a little bit. One other pickup piece that I needed to hit was I had to re-blacken these sort of piston things here for reasons, and mostly because I hit them too much with the airbrush. When I was going around, I forgot to putty over them. So they just need a little bit of plata. This black ink from AK is pretty potent stuff. It went right over it, which is good. The texture on it's a little too shiny, the actual black there, but it'll do. Future I might do that more intentionally. Just less matte than black primer with a metal dry-ish brush. That is good. I'm going to immediately clean this stuff. Tomorrow the big box gets here. Yeah, I ordered the, whatever it was, Rogue Trader Geller Pox Kill Team box last night, actually, like moments before you showed up. I'm pretty psyched about that. I was surfing eBay a little bit today while I was hanging out with my kid on the couch, keeping an eye on her because she's running a fever of 104.8 this morning when she got up. That was exciting. But anyhow, I was like, got the idea last night from Night Auditor that I've got 2 of these. I got a Morkanaut and a Gorkanaut. They got these big claws, and like having them each have like a piece of a transport or a tank in it would be pretty cool. So now I'm starting to like scrape eBay for extra bits. I've got this Stompa to kit bash, and every once in a while you'll find a lot of just like extra tank parts that someone's getting rid of for like 30 bucks. I just have to pay a lot more attention to it. JMB, do you have Monday off? Because man, big box shows up tomorrow. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, if you have Monday off, you're good to go. I have Monday off. No surprise, I'm probably going to paint a bit. rip of flesh it is. So I got this little dude hiding up in here. It's gonna be kind of a pain to paint. It's mostly skin. Contrast paint, so I just kind of got to get it on there. A little bit thick. Let it do its thing. The rest of that's helmet, so that's not too bad. Is he wearing? Yeah, he's just wearing like a sleeveless shirt. He's not going to give me any trouble. I just got to be careful not to get this on any of the purple. That doesn't need to wear armor. He's got a whole Morkanaut for armor. Tracks well. I was off today, working out till next Friday. Well, I'm sure you'll find the time to paint regardless. Sorry, I got that completely wrong about what to look forward to. You can look forward to more work. I mean, the nice thing is you don't have to rush through any of it. You got plenty to paint. Got all kinds of priming and prep to do. Just being careful not to... I don't care if I hit the gun so much, but the leather around this I'd really like to avoid. Pretty much put everything together today that was primed. I have a lot to paint before I get to the big box. Doesn't that feel good though? Like knowing that like you could paint like crazy and you got something waiting on the wings. All kinds of ready. I don't know how visible it is, but the contrast paint, this gut ripping flesh is like strong enough where it still shows up over straight up primed black. It's really good about it. Very pleased with it as a paint. It allows you to get away with doing this BS I'm doing with gray underneath, which looks awesome. Gets you some musculature, not a lot of fuss. Like I can still dip some contrast paint into that little crease in the glove. Skin shows through, and even though it's not really gray in there, it basically looks like darker green. Pretty suave. Go. Scooch this out of the way here. Back there. All shirt. Magic time where we rotate around every angle. Make sure that we haven't missed any flesh. But it looks pretty green. Yeah. There we go. After this contrast paint dries, these guys will get some amount of red wash to them. Just custom bake in interesting contrast on their skin. I learned, buddy. Again, just someone sort of dropping in on a stream and saying, hey, have you tried this thing out? Saying, well, I haven't, but I sure will right now. Time like the present. A lot of that stuff just works out. A lot of people with a lot of wisdom out there who've been painting for a lot of years. Catch them. Generally don't have to interrogate too much to get some pretty solid tips. bad about that, but not terrible. We'll go and do a little bit of cleanup here. I hit that shirt. Shirt's not going to be green. There we go. Get focused. Arm looks okay. Sneak in here on all the rest of them. Are we going to start finding the spots that I missed before? I think we are. I think this is that magic time when I find all the spots that I didn't realize the first time. Hey, Scandian. Having way too much fun, JMB, watching the orcs come to life? You're having exactly as much fun as you should be having. These guys are neat. They're really cool models. So comical. And obviously, like, starting with gray on a lot of the skin, they sort of pop into aliveness pretty quick once you start greening them up. But I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. I'm certainly having a blast. This guy a little so I can reach underneath there. Sloppily hit that inside of his arm. They have gotten grimmer and darker. It was interesting for me because a lot of the aesthetic that I was used to for orcs before 40k came from Blood Bowl. Now, just the Blood Bowl video games, but still they seem to have a little bit more of that old comical look to them. I think the Combat Patrol box is pretty good for orcs. The Kill Team box is definitely a huge amount of fun. But if you get the Combat Patrol, I think you're looking at a few more vehicle-y type things. Like it's got at least one helicopter in it. But I highly recommend everybody getting into orcs. They are like worth their weight in gold in terms of like entertainment value painting them. They look really good on a shelf. I think anyone who even is like strictly paints like mostly loyalist stuff, like having orcs on your shelf, even to just have them faced off with your Happy Space Marines, it's a good look. You know, when someone comes into your house and is like, what is all this stuff on your shelf? Alright, Now I found a whole spot that I've forgotten on each model. Underneath the helm, got it. Wearing a sleeveless necklace t-shirt. Skin on each one. I think it was harder to see on this because his head was in a different position. Yeah, that's decently inserted there. I may pick up some archaeological, just send me a credit card number, I can fix all my Warhammer problems. Indeed, my friend, indeed. I mean, the nice thing is you got your whole life. Like I was just about to say, you know, to Scanion's point, like I am tempted to pick up some old sculpts of some things just to paint them, like super old stuff, because I wasn't around for it, and I feel painting wise like I was left out. Like I know at some point me and my buddy Will are gonna like try to play maybe a 1,000-point game in like old rules, like 2nd edition, but like that's more academic. So like paint and have on the shelf, I think I do want to grab some super old models, and I'll probably be paying a very high premium for them, but those will be like specialty pieces that I take my time with. The orcs are very high on that list. Because I have missed a lot. I'll have to check that out. And some people are just like mind-numbingly creative with what they do. Love it. Very inspiring to see stuff like that. Deeply inspiring. I saw a picture somewhere in the last couple days of like someone who did, I think it was an orc truck. Is there just a straight up truck 2Ks? Not the rig. I think it's just the truck, but it was like had all kinds of extra stuff hanging off of it. And all the coloration was like super bright and cartoony, like blindingly so, and it just like it all came together with the way that the person chose to do it. It was just a beautiful, beautiful piece. Like, not really what I'm doing. Very, very inspiring to just like see someone's crazy take. I think at some point, like I'm still building for armies, not coherent armies, but nevertheless, like almost everything I paint is like, I think I want to play that. I do think at some point I will pick up a few models and like not ones that I'm not interested in playing, but like that won't be the primary motivation. Like I kind of want to build and paint Triumph of St. Catherine. I don't know how far I'm ever going to go with Sisters. I mean, they may be something I go back to every so often. But like, I still haven't played as them, even though I've painted the whole combat patrol. Like, I played against those exact models that I painted. Still haven't played as them. What was I? There we go. Like, the Triumph is just like a very, very cool model. A nice shelf piece, if you will. Hobby with Tim. Take a second and actually just go check that out. At least get the follow going so I can find it later when I am all freed up. That guy seems cool. Chickadee, check him out at some point. Profile pictures, absolutely to die for, that's for sure. That is looking all okay. A little bit more dabbed on there. Here we go. Hey, Woodland. Welcome. I mean, he's not as pretentious as I am. I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy watching him, but yeah, I love people like that that are just like down to have a good time. I will absolutely check him out. Presuming he streams at any of the times that I possibly can, check him out. That's one thing that is like interesting to me, is that Twitch is so ephemeral. Like, I end up keeping videos for as long as they stay up. I mean, a lot of people just play licensed music and like don't post the videos. I had a Discord for a while. I was just didn't have a bot doing my marketing for me. I finally figured out Streamlabs. Yeah, I'm a big deal. I got a Discord. It's actually really, really convenient for people just doing show and tell stuff. There's literally a channel on it called Show and Tell. I love it. Love seeing other people's work. Now I make them come to me and show me their models. What's been up to, Woodland? And another 6 armies. Some creative scene work. Get some R&R in. That is green. One quick check on these fingers. Kind of elusive. Brush. I suppose I should get into some... Ooh, I can do denim. Find the brown for the leather too. So I think I use Cygor brown. It seems to make sense. Drakenhof Nightshade is just, I guess, the name, a wash. But I found with black primer, gray over it, blue enough, even though it's super dark, that you get to basically dark denim. At least I think it looks like that. That's the story I'm sticking with. Sometimes it takes 2 coats. Depends on how much you lighten it up. Getting that sort of worn denim look, relatively easy. Going over the exact same gray that I did the skin. It's convenient. That is kneecap. Kneecap them. First one, my wash is like sinking into the crease next to his leg and not going on pants. Every once in a while it takes 2 coats, but 2 coats is easy. washing this guy's butt. Gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for these guys' shirts. I might actually just hit them with like white wash. Do I have white ink? Oh, comes with immaculate white. I may give that a shot. Not this second, but I don't know if I've used it. I think I've mixed some of my inks with white just to lighten them up, but first time for everything. Does have an apron on. So I'll do the shirt in white and I'll do the apron over it. That's a leather apron as well. It'll look cool. Denim. I got everything on this. I just feel like this is too easy. That one step is too easy. Not that I have any shame for it, but pretty easy. Alright, we will move on to Sigor Brown. This is what I'm going to do for all my leather stuff. Except for any black leather. Honestly, it's probably I'm only going to do his gloves as black leather. This got to be a little careful with because it's got a lot of skin around it, stuff like that. But this is actually pretty dark stuff. So I will end up hitting it with a dry brush of something after. It should only really look like... It should look like dark leather. I'll just put it that way. I can thin it out a bit, and it'll let a little bit more of that undercoat that I put on there show through. I found it sort of dries lighter than what it looked like when I first painted it on. So I'll just do an example of this on the other boot. I can always darken it back up. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll take some of this and just, even just with water, thin it out. Sometimes I'll do it with, of course on this side I really didn't texture it much. Sometimes I'll do it 2 coats light like this, just thinned out, and it'll let more of that gray undercoat through. Or just in some spots that I want to have be lighter. But yeah, you can sort of see it starting to dry there. It dries out a little bit lighter. A lot of times what I'll do is just put this stuff on my wet palette, have a dab of water somewhere, just pull some water in when I want to do a slightly lighter spot. This part is a little sticky in that I don't have to worry about hitting these metallics, but getting any amount of this brown in there, those gaps, a little bit of a task. Doable. It's not all that fun. Of course, finding the exact spots where this guy's leather apron ends and his shirt begins, that's a little bit of a quest too. I think I got it. Hey, Sector X, how are you? I am still using your method of gray underneath and gut rip of flesh. Pretty solid. I dig it a lot. When'd you get in? Were you in Sao Paulo? That's a super easy skin. You ain't kidding, brother. Forgot exactly where you're going, I think. Oh, that's right, Fort Lauderdale. Ah, you did tell me that. I think you told me that. It sounds familiar. Friday night, who knows? Any of the things I remember are correct or me gaslighting myself. Good food, weird people. Sounds good to me. I found out that speaking of Sao Paulo, several of the people that I work with are from Sao Paulo are like really into Warhammer, but only tangentially because they can't get their hands on they can't find anyone that has models down there because the markup import tax is so high that like stores don't carry them. Like, man, when I go down there, I'm just gonna bring an empty a suitcase full of Warhammer models and hand them out and buy clothes that I need when I'm there. Pretty saddening to me. Like, I looked it up. It's like their closest actual Warhammer store is in Miami. And then I looked up just some game shops because people play Magic the Gathering down there. But the shipping and tax isn't as prohibitive on Magic because tiny little packs of cards. Like, several different people without me having to ask the line of questioning were like, yeah, I would totally play if I could get my hands on the stuff, but you just can't get it down here. Very forlorn. Yeah, I really hope we have an off-site in Sao Paulo at some point. I'm supposed to get down there a lot for my last job, and it just never materialized. Got a $1,500 dinner for 4 people. What'd you have? I'm gonna presume it was some cut of steak. I do not eat nearly enough steak anymore. Minding my heart and all that. Yep. All kinds of steak and crazy wines. That's one of my favorite meals, man. Just like, hit me with different cuts, cooked different ways. Pair it up with some good wine. Darn fine living. It was interestingly quiet at work for me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because all of our Brazilian folks had those 3 days off for Carnival. And it really shed light just on how many Brazilians we work with right now. Because it was quiet, and it's like a lot of our engineers and designers are from there. And we didn't really get a lot done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, we still did. Like the people we had really stepped up, but pretty quiet. Lots of Zoom meetings that normally have like 2 screens of people. Suddenly, like 5 of us in a couple meetings. I love my Brazil folks. It's good for game designers. I don't know if it's good for like straight up designers, but I've worked with several pretty solid game designers. But if you're talking like graphic design and stuff like that, it's been a little bit more hit and miss. Talking about like non-entertainment software design, don't know. UX has been hit or miss. Yeah, that's. I don't think we have any UI. No, we have. There's one guy that, and he's a dude that I worked very directly with at my previous job. We have one UI guy. He's on a different team though, working on a different game from Brazil. But he was like an absolute standout all-star. Like he was running his own like one-man firm before he got into games doing graphic design stuff for UI. We have no UX people from down there. Just it's not evolved yet. I don't think it's taught well enough there yet. I think engineering, you find that like because it's a potential ticket out of Brazil, that the people that go and choose to do it, like they have an extra mission in mind that is extremely motivating. went a little heavy there. Oof. Yeah, it's my experience, for better or worse, is everything. Um, I do remember in game design when UX was not a discipline yet. So game designers did it, and some were good at it, and some were terrible. It's shocking to me just how many game designers don't actually care about the player. So I guess in that regard, it's kind of good the discipline got split out. But yeah, I'm like 100% on the same boat. Like, it doesn't matter. And obviously it matters as like a bedrock thing that your product is good, but if using it sucks, yeah, I mean, and the opposite, well, not the opposite, the other side of the coin is true, is that like, you can also just harm something. You can harm something pretty heavily, especially, well, I mean, all my experience now for like the last 10 years has been in mobile, but like with mobile software, people could just pick up the next thing. Like, they don't care. People download, especially in games, they download 5 games at a time and then pick the one that they care about. So if you don't hit someone with that experience very early on, like, there's just so many options. You know, for bigger software things, like, sometimes, it's obviously in terms of hardware too, like, the better user experience just wins. Flat out. And then they can sort of catch up because they get that market penetration. You get a brand out there, or even just some word of mouth, where they can fix the software later. I mean, like, the Warhammer app from Games Workshop is like a classic example of, like, the current version is a little bit easier, maybe even a lot, than the previous one. And that was my biggest hang-up with the previous one. It's just a database. It's still garbage. Just saying that, like you could dumpster dive for some stuff and be safe, but like, it's not good. But it was so bad in the last version that, like, it was practically unusable. And my point here is that under the hood, it's still the same thing. There's still it's just a database that's reading rules and showing you objects with, you know, they're just structures. All it is just showing you database stuff. It's not that hard. Like, relatively speaking, all of their effort really should just be in the experience of using the app. I don't get it. Like, why it is not awesome to use. Like, I know the reasons. Like, I could come up with a long list. I don't know why they haven't prioritized making it better to use enough. Or they just don't have good people. But, like, at the point where I'm at, if you told me, like, my task was to design something that looked up rules and showed pictures for things that change every few months, I'd be like, oh my god, that's the, like, easiest thing ever. Warhammer TV. I'm subscribed to it. Here's one thing that deeply concerns me is I feel like some places just won't copy who's out in front in terms of the experience because they don't want to be like at all like a copy of it. There's some things that just become convention because someone's just like, all right, like either Netflix or Amazon or some amalgam of them come up with stuff that works pretty darn good. And I'm like, some of Warhammer TV stuff just feels like an affront to any other channel and how their UI works in terms of consistency. I'm like, man, just like steal the stuff that works. Like someone else put all that research into it. Like there are times when I struggle with how backwards Warhammer TV's UX is. Like it doesn't have to be that way. You're not fighting Netflix. You're not fighting them directly. Your fight is that you've got your own content that you're not showing over there on their medium. It's not that you're trying to out UX them. Weird. I don't know why this has lyrics going. Lyrics. I generally don't get angry over UI UX stuff, but I have to say that the like Games Workshop store site, oh my god. Like the fact that it presents me with what is your language? Frankly, you could look up by my IP and take a wild guess, buddy. Then I pick my language and then it's like it doesn't run the link through that I got there from, so it doesn't even show me the thing that was linked to in the store. Like, yeesh. Grizzly. I hate it. I don't use the H word on a lot of things, but I don't think I'm just justifying my purchases from Ukraine with this opinion. UI and the general experience with the Warhammer store are bad enough. Where like I don't even like dislike the company like a lot of seasoned people do. I'm just like, man, you are making my life so miserable going on your store to buy your stuff that I might just go elsewhere. I think I will brown up these gloves. I think these gloves will look good as brown leather. I wasn't gonna do it. Now I'm gonna do it. It will look good brown. Sip of tea. these other gloves popping. A little water. Yeah, I find it strange that I can like Google search for a model, have Games Workshop show up very high on the list of places to go. I click that link, it does not take me to the product. It asks me for the 80th time what language I want to see it in, where I'm from. I gotta tell you, it asks me if I accept their cookies every time. I do accept them. What I expect, if you're giving me cookies, that maybe, if for some reason you can't check the IP region I'm coming to your store from, maybe remember where I'm from. Like, that's not GDPR crap. Like, I've accepted the cookies. Please just remember where I'm from. Oof, that's a bit of a mess. Try to do better next time. There we go. The edge of this glove in here. There we go. Yeah, it does look better as brown leather. It does. Sold. I missed some green. Go catch up on that. Here, there is just a glob left. Got it. There's a lot of neat stuff on this model. Two weapons he got. I almost gave one of the guys the wrench. Almost backed away from it. Probably should have. I have a little regret there. I'm not going to go back and tweak it now, but just have them look a little different. But definitely got very curious melee and a very curious ranged weapon on him. Lots of really cool details. Absolutely looks like an orc that builds and fixes crap. Somewhat like a priest. How ornate he is. How was it? How was the book? Eric's the claw hand guy, right? Yeah. Like, are there I'm only casually familiar with the character, and only from, there's like a couple flashback scenes in Hell's Reach, excuse me, that like have that dude. Are there a lot of Yarrick books? Yarrick? That's the first one. I do have to get a little bit of my Commissar on at some point. It's going to be required. I am absolutely loving the Eisenhorn omnibus. Not every single scene is great, like, but as far as like a ride and a perspective, I like it a lot. And it just does a lot of crap, like just wholesale murdering off characters left and right that I genuinely appreciate. Or turning them into demon hosts. Decide which of these brushes is worse. Both pretty bad right now. Yeah, I may check that one out next, though I still have like, I'm only 2/3 of the way through the Eisenhorn omnibus. But I like that stuff. Like Inquisitor crap is just like my speed. Or jam, I guess, maybe. For parlance. I like inquisitorial stuff. But it's very good at like touching on the scale of the universe. Universe. Like plenty of moments where it's like, yep, it's gonna be like 2.5 months to get from point A to point B to handle this other situation. It's just like, I don't know, that stuff is really cool to me. Strap. The fact that a lot of Inquisitors don't get along with each other, love it. I will check that out on Warhammer TV if I can find it and hit play and get it to go full screen without having to wrestle the app. Oh, my eyes are going out of focus. It's great. It must be Friday. Friday out of focus. Go right up to that point where it's metallic. I missed the green on that hand too. Oh, I'm such a bum. This one is posed very different than the other ones, but this arm is. To miss all those fingers. Weak. Weak 0. Joe, you make some more. Know that, baby? Just getting all that brown leather. I will crack back open my gut rip of flesh. Get that hand before I forget it again. Both these hands well. Not perfectly. One more try. There we go. Much better. Crack this open. Finish the green that I missed. And maybe t-shirt's bombing. So I'm not going to toss ink onto wet palette, I don't think. I'll water it down, it's already silky as it is. Pop this guy off and let him corner a bit, a little drier. Sneak into a bunch of kind of small spaces. This guy's got a decent tip on him. I'm gonna give him a little bit of alcohol soak. Sure, his base of hem is somewhat healthy. Let that sink in for a second. Sip some tea. mediocre clean. Got a decent tip. All right. Imagine this white ink has a weird pigment in it. White's always weird. Gotta be special. It's certainly white. Oh man. Ah, danger white. I'm not sure ink was the best call on this. I'm not sure it was. It might be all right. We'll see. I should let it do its thing before I raise too much judgment on it. It's a little bizarre looking. I'm gonna just raise my judgment on it. That's not working. Going to 50-50 Wraithbone with some straight up white. See how that feels. I can water it down pretty heavily if I need to. Stuff is in rough shape. I do love this paint, but it is not happy in this pot. Just hitting this with some flow medium. I want it to be pretty darn smooth. Try this again. Second verse. Same as the first. That is much more what I'm looking for. Not bad. Side of this guy, yeah, he's got shirt on under the other side, of course. All right, so shirt's white. It may get a gray wash after this. We'll see. I think it's going to have some sort of wash. We either get a gray wash or actually a super thinned out white wash. Or, excuse me, black wash. Around, spin, keep at it. That's absolutely going to need a wash. Wash. I do got to get the guy on the top of this. Much easier access to the side on this guy because his arm's up. That's great. Love it. I found a spot. Needs a little more detail on the other couple of these guys. based on where I offset the arm on it. Maybe there's a little shirt, maybe there's not. This guy's got some. The other guy, not so much. Just need to sneak in there a bit. Does have to be pretty sneaky. Thankfully, I can hit this guy's helmet, no problem. That's going to be mad chrome. And here I will take a little white and get it on his keepers. Probably should do on the other guys too while I'm here. Get them up a little bit in terms of brightness. I am going to have to go back to all of them at some point and hit them. Truly orky music. It would have been wise for me to keep these guns off of here. Or paint this guy and drop him in first, but sometimes the excitement of building the model takes over and you just plug a bunch of stuff in. I did not do a phenomenal job on that, but it's okay. He's got straps and a shirt? Buddy, you've been downgraded to just a shirt. I'm going to sneak back in there and hit him with a little bit more green. Couple little spots in there that aren't as happy as the others. Get this brush cleaned up though. Quick re-dab. This gut rip of flesh. Just had to sneak in there a little bit. Question is, what is next? The answer to that may very well be crap ton of chrome. Sometimes with this project, rubber meets the road. I gotta paint a lot of chrome, and these guys are gonna be basically the priests of this army. They're gonna be wearing a lot of chrome. I do think that I I have to be careful because this whole block can just become blinding as like a monolithic chromy thing. So I think what I want to do is pick and choose some spots and not hit everything. Otherwise it'll just be a little too much. And I'm posing this around and like at the different angles and looking at it from the top and going like, just how much chrome can this tolerate? It's gonna still be a lot, but don't want it everywhere. In fact, on the back here, I'm absolutely gonna hit all the tools, or the sort of like priestly, for lack of a better term, bits. But I might hold off. See how it looks. Got a bit of that done. Retire these guys to the back cup of brutalized and savaged brushes. Grab a new cheap brush. It might because there's a phantom hair poking it. That was pretty awesome. There's actually like one ultra long hair on this thing. Can I see it? Yeah, can't see it. Watching abject horror as I lance off an extra hair off of this brush. These brushes are cheap as all heck. There we go. But it had a hair that was longer than the tip by like maybe millimeter and a half. And as I was getting close to this chrome paint, it was like touching the surface and making it do all this metally crap. It's kind of neat. All this guy's tools got to be chrome. Let's see just how much more needs to be. I might just be able to go with like little pretty spots. This initial pass. Hardware on the belt buckle very carefully. Purple screws need to scream out. Alrighty. Baubles hanging from his arms. There we go. Absolutely want to hit the plates on the back of his gloves. Those will pop out nicely, screaming out nicely. I mean, you can just see right there, there's so much like slight difference now on it. Got little bolts in the corner which look really good. As long as I'm not sloppy. Saw blade. It looks pretty good. Pretty good, I mean obnoxiously chromy. Get the spanner heel of it. Alrighty. This mech gun ball is a consistent theme in a lot of their weapons. I chrome this, but I'm probably going to hit it with blue ink later over the chrome. And that will give, like, from this angle, from actually a lot of angles, a nice little pop of color. That doesn't bore the eye too much. Broken thumb? What? I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Video game time it is. So maybe not console. It's something strategic without a lot of jumping. Open a door too fast and it sprung back. That sounds awesome. That sounds absolutely dope. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Oof. Yeah, that's the thing though with like thumb, index, middle finger, definitely toes, knees, elbows, all weird spots that like just create a lot of discomfort when you get an injury there. Like a lot of times it's not the pain, but it's like just how much normal use the thing gets that it just gets like psychologically so annoying. You have it taped up? Actually, can you even... I don't think you can tape up a thumb. Just gotta amputate, man. Thumb's in an awkward place to begin with. Shouldn't even be there. Okay, bash my hand. That is the spirit. Start looking through, you know, the drawers in your kitchen. Just be like, what if I took half a spoon, a melon baller, and a microplane, put them all together, and I had the dopest thumb ever. I love it. Can't bash my hand. You're one of a kind. My question is, do I do that gear part too? And I think I have to. Sort of makes the whole banner over the shoulder thing come together. But I mean, I am going to leave the post and the hardware unchromed. You got to sneak in there and get the rest of the wrench, though. That will be a little annoying. No more annoying than I already am. Amen, man. Amen. You're deserving. You're due. You know, I am going to chrome this whole box and then I'll hit it with some red ink. I've done in several other spots and several other models, and that'll also give me a pop of color. Completely contrasty with the red, but or the red and the blue, excuse me, will be contrasty with each other, which I'm not sure of it. We're gonna find out. Got that box there. I'm gonna hit that box up there. Shape language wise, like that's kind of gives a cool aspect of like two square bits on the back, that thing, and then maybe I'll hit some part of this guy. That may be enough. Sure, I understand what I'm looking at here. I just want to get around this edge of the box. These two little, all the teeth got to be chromed. Requirement. An option. Suppose this tank will do well as well. Got all that. Get his helmet. Everybody gets a chrome helmet. Requirement. It's going to be a pain to get inside there. Have to keep rotating till you find the right way to get at it. Full pitch and yaw. To get the hardware over his eyes. Some of this will get us some additional color in it. In fact, probably both his eyes will get really rich red ink on them. Those pop out. Looking at you forwards. Get the red there. The electrical box on the side of the buzzsaw, and I did hit that with some chrome, and I kind of like it. Look at the edge. That looks. Inside of this. The edge the same on both sides? Did I just not hit it the same? Oh no, I did hit it the same. Alright, I'm good. I'm good. Hit some of these hoses. They pop out nice. Super shiny. So some of this is going to get ink over it for sure. A lot of the inks do look pretty good over chrome. Also got to make sure that I don't over chrome this thing. I know, listen to me say that after all this time, but the guy has so much metallics on him. He's a mech. There are limits aesthetically. Alrighty. Sure what I did with his hand right there, but it's unfortunate. I might be able to fix it right now. This guy up, see what is still lurking on here. Yeah, there we go. Maybe I hit it with chrome. If it just, I mean, it is a contrast paint. It might have just snuck off of there a little bit. better. Is it good? Hot and it's ready. Another spot that I could stand to brown up a little bit. This might have been the first guy that I did these gloves on. Might explain it. Is that actually green? That's the edge of his glove. That is green. Ooh. Eyes are getting soft. It's been a week. I can tell you that much. It's been a week. All right. That step done, I can step away from chrome for a little bit. And that things have dried up a smidge. Grab some wash. I'm gonna use Berserker Bloodshade here. Wash the skin. There is skin on this guy over here to wash. Some tea. Get some wash on this guy's skin. Weird angle to approach this guy from. Get it to work. I'm actually thin this a tiny bit. Just put some on this wet palette, put some water near it. I can just sort of mix in the middle a little bit. As a man would have painted this guy before I dropped him in here, or left the guns off. I know I keep saying that, but every time I go back to this guy, I'm like, that would have been a smart place. There we go. Assembly is your friend. You use it. Back here. Just chill out, buddy. Chill out with your wash. Guy in the back. Fingers are still drying. moving this wash around a little bit. Relatively send out. Berserker Bloodshade. Be interesting. I don't know. Pigment in it, but it does fly around a bit. Reacts a lot to water. Just like dances on the bottle. A lot of times you can take a section and sort of wet it down, just some water, and then like hit it with a couple dabs of strong stuff. Just like go wherever the heck it wants to. This is where the real musculature is on this guy. Saw arm. Digits. Get all the way up into your armpit. Make sure I get these fingers properly. There we go. Wrist. So it's certainly interesting taking a red wash to green skin, but it does give you like a beautiful sort of contrasty right there on the skin look. I have come to like it quite a bit. Let's get under here. Oink. That's right. Legit supposed to, I can't tell if that's supposed to be his jaw or a plate. It's getting crunched. You know what? That's a plate. It's a full-on mask. Friday Night Eyes inserted. Things up for grabs. A long week. Staring at my computer all day. Most of the day, actually. I spend a lot of the day just watching my kid. I am actually going to hit the 5-minute break button. Speaking of watching my kid, I'm going to go take my kid's temperature. are back. All right. Finish this guy up. So I learned at one point to do the leather first, then do this wash. I don't want to say the hard way because it wasn't really a problem, but the red doesn't really harm the leather at all. Actually gives it a little bit of richness if you go over by a little bit. You don't want to paint over it entirely, this wash, but gives the leather a little bit of character, and then when you dry brush over that, no biggie, whereas the opposite way, that's good. Oop, like that little finger. Digits. Chin chin. Make sure I got behind these guys' necks. That guy at all yet. Ha! Neck. Got it. He has the most neck exposed, so that was kind of an easy win there. Let's back over a little bit more on my wet palette. Water. Ready. Fingers on here. There we go. Let's get his face. Such a cute guy. Swirly there, buddy. There we go. Keep moving the wash around until it kind of lands where you put it. Then it's going to keep moving around after. Into the thread over. the wash, not a pain. So wiggling it around a little bit. A is fun. But B times helps it find home. Gotta wiggle it a little bit to make sure that you've touched every sort of edge and crevasse. Good morning, Eddie. How are you? Good to see you, man. Today's a big day. Weekend from hell? Uh-oh. What does that mean? Oh. Boy. Congratulations. I didn't know that that was... I didn't know that that was upcoming... Oh, okay, so it is a bit early. I didn't know it. I was like, it seems to come up soon. Well then. Enjoy the ride. You already have one, right? You got a little nugget. I mean, 5 weeks early is early, for sure. But it's not like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I mean, obviously you should be like, oh my god, oh my god. But... Well, I mean, you're already used to not getting a lot of sleep, so you got that going for you. That was a big asset of mine. Both of the kids that I don't know, played second fiddle to. I felt so useless every single time. You're just like, hey, do a good job. Push. Push just nuts, no fear. I wonder where that comes from. Both of my girls are blah 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 blah, and I know where that comes from. Not that my wife is quiet, but my kids are total jabberjaws. I love that stuff. When you like see aspects of yourself in your kids, like good and bad. He's way worse than me. That is the payback. Oh. Airborne. My 3-year-old woke up this morning. Yeah, I'm worried about it. No doubt. My 3-year-old woke up with a fever of 104.8, which is pretty warm for a human being. Let's see. So yeah, 40.4. That was awesome this morning. She's got the flu. She's got influenza A. Yeah. So we checked her. She had a fever yesterday, but it was like 100, 101. And we checked her at like 4 in the morning. Just like one check in the middle of the night. Yeah, 40. Not safe. When we got her up this morning, she was roasting. And so it was just like a mad dash. Like, wife grabbed her, brought her to the doctor. They tested her for like RSV, COVID, influenza A, B, and one other thing, and it turns out she had the legit flu. Not like, oh, I got a cold and I call it the flu. Yeah. Like my wife always gets up a little bit before I do, most of the time, and like she was already, but she was like up and about. She tapped me on the foot. She's like, "Now you got to get up. I got to take Ruby in." Fuck. So, got her to the doctor, got her some Tamiflu. Obviously, we got to keep, like, very close eye on her at this point. Her fever's come down a lot since this morning. But, like, her brain was definitely getting a little fried. Like, there's nothing worse, I think, than watching a kid suffer through sickness. In general, just stuff like runny nose and whatever is still, like, really rough because they can't help themselves as well as you wish they could. But seeing a little kid go, 3-year-old, with a crazy, crazy high fever was like, man, her personality was just washed out. It was like very distressing. But we got her to the doctor very, very quick. Got her some Tamiflu, which helps a ton. But I ended up taking like half the day off to help keep an eye on her, because my wife was like, this kid was so miserable. Like, oh my god. Yeah, scary stuff, man. Like, she would just cry about anything, because she was just like, you're a little kid, you're miserable, you don't have the meta sense of like what a fever is. And it's just like I'm a mopey, like, sad person when I get a fever. Like, I don't like being sick, but like I at least know what's going on. Like, she was like, oh, it's time to go play, and I was like, you ain't doing none of that. Yeah, no, I 100% feel you. I mean, truth be told, you aren't useless. I was just as useless with, having both kids be born. Like, at least once they're like out, you can sort of like, I mean, even in the very beginning, like, they're feeding every like 2 hours. So it's like, how much sleep can you give your wife? The most is 2 hours. But at least you can like hustle around and do house stuff and like change the baby when the baby needs changing and whatever. But it's a feeling. It is that uselessness is just like not cool. I hated that shit. But like, oh, she won't? Alright, well, then you can give her a little bit more rest then. My wife refused not to, so. But, yeah, it's a doozy. Pretty crazy. I mean, it is life-changing stuff. But you just gotta power through it. But she probably will be. Going that early, she's gonna be in for a while, and obviously, like, wish you nothing but, knock on wood, good luck, because you need it every time. But 5 weeks it's early. It is not as early as it used to be. Like, nowadays, inducing in general is like extremely common practice because they have a very good sense of like when the right time is based on all the. Yeah, you'll be doing incubator time. But inducing is much more of a mathematical preordained science now than it used to be. Yeah, she's gonna be little, but you know, not so far off the scale that it's like she's gonna be a little peanut. Just gotta, you know, stay calm, do everything in the order that it takes it, and be a good parent, which as a dad that early is pretty useless, but be a good cheerleader. Exactly, stay calm, but don't stay so calm that you seem grim. It's like that balance too. Like, you don't want to like freak anyone out, but at the same time, if you just stand there with pursed lips like some, you know, British nobility from the 1800s, just like pursed lips in the other room, sitting, smoking a pipe, just waiting, like, you have to be emotionally available, but not bug out. Therein lies the lesson. But it is a wild ride. I'm a pretty calm dude. You may have surmised that. I definitely I gotta work on the other side of it. Yeah, and frankly, like, I don't think that, and what I was about to get into is, like, I'm probably too far over on the other side. Like, I don't get hyped enough in some situations. Everybody's different. And you need both. You need a bit of balance. You need to be able to do both things. You need to be able to, like, snap react and get hyped, and you also need to be able to chill out. It's a huge challenge for every human being to find the right spot. Yeah. Like, my wife tends to bug out more than I do, which is good, because sometimes I don't bug out enough. Like, if you meet the right people that are not like you, hey, what's up, Mr. Motorhead? We're talking about making babies and stuff. But yeah, if you find a good balance with certain people, like, a lot of my friends are like, yeah, a lot of my best friends are just like way more bug out than I am. Yep. And I don't think that opposites attract, but like complementary is good. Yeah. Eddie's Eddie's got an exciting weekend in front of him. Oh, see, that's the thing for me is like I don't scream at the TV, but like I love boxing, I love MMA, stuff like that. You need to hide someone inside here. Go put like a chaplain. I don't think Snickrot fits in there. He's too big. I'll put a grot inside there. Electrician. Close quarters. Did you mean to type a C there? Or do I not know what QCB is? Close quarters. Bananas? And I bet you do. Ah, okay. That makes sense. So what is the B for in your lordships? Close quarters battle? Yeah, that makes sense. It's not for everyone, I'll tell you that much, but you know, it's a very essential, the most visceral part of, I was going to say combat, but I guess I'll say battle right now. Like it's grim business, but can't always be guns. I can imagine. I can imagine. For sure. Scooch this guy back again and chrome up some more of these dudes. I'm so precariously close to. I'm getting really close to 2,000 points right now. I would have been there. The latest updates scooched me out, so I think I'm actually going to get some tank busters. Get them in the mix. But hey, now I got some mechs that can repair all the vehicles that I will drive screaming into the enemy and get completely wrecked. That's what this army is all about. But a little bit of repairs will go a long way. I gotta add a little bit of chrome paint to this little bucket area. It's getting a little thick. I gotta buy a cheap tank or some other vehicle. What I'm gonna do, got this idea actually last night from Night Auditor, what the jam's gonna be. Each one of these guys gets his own plate. I know I can't see everything in here, but you can see this guy's arm hanging off of here. Buddy, gonna be here, so I'm gonna sit them on the far outside of their bases. I'm gonna do something cool in between here and have them each holding a piece of something. Be a tank, torn off, like maybe a turret and like a back plate, and have some more rubble there, like they just ripped it apart. Speaking of close quarters battle. So that should be fun. I don't think I'm going to base these guys for a bit, because I basically just need to find a cheap tank on eBay that I know I can tear apart. Not that there's that hard to find, but I want to get it right. Pink one is the best, I know. But I can't choose favorites. You always see a Lehman Russ, yeah. And there's a lot out there, but I need to like consider. I have multiple things going, so if I can actually find, I was looking around today a bit, if I can find a lot that is just like a bunch of extra tank parts, that's actually more useful to me than a crappily painted, put together single tank. I saw a couple things on there, but I still have to kit bash a whole Stompa once I've hit 2,000 points. So there's that. And a bunch of tank parts would go a long way towards that. And then, but it'll also work for the bases on these guys. So I got my eyes out. I'm not going to rush towards it. I've got stuff to do. You know, these mechs will take, you know, between the mechs and the commandos that I got to finish up. Got some time on those, and I will order some tank busters, and then I'm just gonna like just make sure that I get a decent order of parts. I have some pretty good stuff from the Octaria set, the terrain bits that I'm going to saw out different chunks of that'll make interesting parts for a Stampa as well. But I do think I need to just order a lot of extra Imperial tank rubbish. But I am getting close. Seriously close. Go roll this thing up. A little scooch. There we go. I do desperately want to take this army in the field. It's gonna be so much fun. Like, I don't think strategically this is gonna be a very good army, but man, is it gonna be fun to play. Really good, fun, surprisey stuff. Lots of speed. I am completely and utterly unused to. Do not look chromy, buddy. Oh yeah, I did miss a spot. Alright. Now makes complete sense. Go. Just a little bit of detail. That chrome around a little bit. Around those bolts. Hose right here. Those always look good. Some chrome on them. Shine. Whew. The electrical box. Always safe. OSHA certified Ork electrical box. There we go. Spin this guy around over here, see what I missed. Ah, yes. Extra nuts, bolts. It's important. Whew. I did. There's a lightning bolt. I always get the lightning bolts. Ooh, dab of chrome. A little sloppy. Sloppy, buddy. I guess those dials. Some of this cabling. Super gently. Ah. Exciting. Let's get the cabling on this guy and then I think probably call it a night. I'm hella tired. It's been one heck of a week. Made a decent amount of progress here. Yeah, I've been on here for 3 hours. I'm gonna tap out for the night. Eddie, if they're still out there, good luck, good luck, good luck this weekend. Keep your head screwed on straight. Live in the moment. Enjoy it. Wish you the best of luck. All y'all hung out. Thanks a bunch for hanging. Keep me company. And I will catch you next time as we eke ever closer to having a full orc army. Have a great weekend, folks.